Bring it on, bring it on.
You,
bring it on.
Life know the sweet though, hey. If some people know the hate too, so use the number 6 so and calculate. You go see the ratio. The beef self na meat though, whether na asu them relate to. So bring your own crayfish oh, we go mix so oh la. Shane and them talk say we no go blow. Share them they see us now, we don't they glow. Take a look at me now, take a look at me now. We're running things in this town, can't you see?
I don't care who you are, where you're from, or what you do. Just as long as you're chasing money, do what's right, never give up on it. Bring it on, bring it on.
Are you ready? Unu ready?
No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. Bring it on, bring it on.
Are you ready? Unu ready?
No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall.
And rising, rising, rising. Keep it high, rising, rising.
Bring it on.
This life is not easy. So much hustling and puzzling. Everyone is struggling. So make you know they believe say, since everyone is chasing, you're never gonna make it. Never say no, never give up. Keep your head up, standing tall. And for sure, you go turn it up, turn down for what? Hey, Shane and them talk say, we no go blow. Share them they see us now, we don't they glow. Take a look at me now, take a look at me now. We're running things in this town, can't you see?
I don't care who you are, where you're from, or what you do. Just as long as you're chasing money, do what's right, never give up on it. Bring it on, bring it on.
Are you ready?
Good morning, everyone. I want to believe that we are having a good time in this summit, recognizing the Vice Chancellor, Professor Fulariko Kachewali, and his team, principal officers, the deans, the provosts, the students, and our invited guests, and also our experts, whom we have invited to this summit. I welcome every one of us.
What I want to share today, I'm going to be sharing 10 key points around how innovation ecosystems enable venture and lessons that African universities can learn. Again, this is pulling a lot from the work that we've done. Now, when we talk about the innovation ecosystem, the key thing there is that an ecosystem has different stakeholders that are playing a role. Now, all of these key stakeholders have to come together if truly the ecosystem will be able to unlock the value that we want to see. Now, within this ecosystem, you have the innovators, right? Those who come up with the idea. Now, when they come up with the idea, they need funding. They need to get the funding from somewhere, right? Now, in terms of funding, of course, you have investors, and there's a whole lot around investments with different types of vehicles through which you can make investments. It could be equity investments, which is I give you money to put in the company and I say I want 5%, I want 10%. Or it could be non-equity, so grants, right? Or debt, so I give you a loan, you use it to build your company, then you pay me back, right? Now, this startup has this idea and then they have funding. Now they need to build, right? If they're going to build, they need people, correct? So they need skilled talent to support them to build. Now, I'll give you some examples. If, for instance, there's some work we were doing in supporting edtech startups on the continent, and I often say that with technology, edtech, fintech, agritech, proptech, createch, any tech. It's not just about the tech. The technology is the enabler. So if we say edtech, for instance, the education component of it is very important, right? Which means that if someone is building an education technology solution and they say, if somebody uses this tool, they will be able to pass their exams, or I can guarantee an A in mathematics. I'm just giving that as an example. Now, you have to make sure that indeed when someone uses that tool, that result actually happens. And there are a number of skills required to make that happen, one of which is learning sciences, the science of how learning happens, and how you can apply that when delivering learning via technology. It's completely different from when you're delivering learning in person. Now, we started to work very closely with these edtech startups, and we have learning science managers on our team who provide advisory to them. And then they said, oh great, now we want to hire our own learning science managers. And guess what? We don't have nearly enough of that on the continent. As a matter of fact, we barely have that. And that creates a gap in the ecosystem, because what it means is that our edtech startups cannot grow and deliver the kind of outcomes that we need them to deliver, because they cannot hire the talent they need on the continent to build that. And so part of the work that needs to happen in the ecosystem is say, where are the people who could potentially serve as a pipeline of this talent? And how do you engage them to say, do you realize there's a gap here and you can empower people with the skills? Now there's also government, because as part of this ecosystem, right, that if you empower the startup, they get the funding, they build the DICE solution, one policy can totally obliterate that startup, correct? And so I'm painting this picture to us just understand why ecosystems are important and why the role of ecosystem enablers is very important, and the role that universities play within this innovation ecosystem. Now, a lot of times when you look at the ecosystem, the innovation ecosystem in Africa, the people you see at the center of it are often innovation hubs, right? And that's fine, that's great, because innovation hubs are bringing all of the key stakeholders together. But there's something very important I learned, which is quite interesting. So a few years back, we had an opportunity to go to Japan on an exchange. So we're saying we wanted to do more innovation in hardware on the continent, because software space, we see a lot of solutions, right? And in Japan, they have all of this hardware innovation, and we're looking for how do we create that partnership and the linkage between the Japanese innovation ecosystem and the industry and Africa. And so when we went on that visit, they took us to a number of universities there. And what I found quite fascinating was, every time we went to a university and they gave us a brochure just about them, about what they do, the first page of it, you'd see the number of patents that they had, you would see the number of startups they had supported, and here's where it was very interesting. The number of startups they had supported that had listed on their stock exchange. It's a different case. So they're not just saying now we have 100 startups. It's like these guys have gone to market. There's demonstrated evidence of this.
Welcome to the Naija Pitch. This is the show where Nigeria's black entrepreneurs step pitch their business ideas to a panel of powerful investors. This is a country driven by innovation and hustle, and today they have the opportunity to earn money. They have one chance to secure the deal of a lifetime. Will they rise or will they walk away empty-handed? The floor is open. Please welcome the investors. We're going straight into the program. Please welcome the first entrepreneur.
My name is and I'm asking for 5 million naira to take the thing for my company. Kawa Uber. You see, in Nigeria today, buying meat is a stress. You go to the market, you price, you argue. The cow will even look at you as if you know your salary. But we cow Uber, we bring the cow to you.
Please, can you explain more to us?
Okay, yes. We have an app. You scroll, you pick your cow, small, medium, very plentiful, and we deliver the cow live in your compound, fresh.
So you mean to say that your car will come into my estate like an Uber?
Okay, yes, so in fact, premium users can even name their cow before delivery. And we will deliver it live in your compound. You might be able to do a restaurant now,
No! That's enough! Unfortunately, we are not interested in your pitch.
Hey. What a free complimentary cow.
I said that's enough!
And my sister's wedding is coming soon. Africa won't be bad.
We're going back into the show. The next entrepreneur, please, let's make her feel welcome.
Hello investors, I am Gianna and I am seeking just 10 million naira for 50% of my company, buying on a budget. We know that in Nigeria, every weekend you can go and beg, and every old of them requires a fresh new look. I am here to give you that. Hey, look at me. Now you find pass. See my dress. Tell your favorite to show you what they are wearing. And guess what? I didn't buy it. I rented it. But who will know?
So it's basically just a trip to the
No. This is a luxury rotation platform. Only high quality.
So, what problem does your idea solve?
Our research shows that Nigerians don't repeat outfits, but they repeat theirs. We are solving that.
Yes.
It's enough for us.
What do you mean? I'm not good thing.
We'll be going on a short break right now, but do not worry, we will be back to see if any entrepreneur scores a goal on the Nanja pitch.
Clearly, all these young people, they don't get the point. They're looking for something fresh, a problem solver. Let me tell you something. Back then, in my days, we looked for solutions and we found them. Not cow, Uber and
But
Owen.
we need to collect a free cow just now.
Hey, that's not the point right now.
Oh, save it, Grandma.
I need something to interest me. It's not about being young. I mean, look at me, 28, a multi-millionaire, an innovator. The right one is out there. I can feel it.
And we are back on the Nanja pitch. We have two more entrepreneurs who will battle for the goal. Can we have the next entrepreneur?
Good day, investors! Good day, chat! My name is Kunle and I need 4 million for 10% of my company, Stream Saver NG! We provide... No. Chat, provide this. No! In Nigeria, we know being a streamer is not just about content creation. It is a spiritual warfare!
What do you mean?
Your life! Your viewers are growing! You are about to blow! Then suddenly, never takes light! Bam! Your very people have logged into your destiny! Just like that! Stream Saver NG, we provide backup data plans, emergency data bundles, with automatic I will be back notifications for our viewers so they don't just abandon us.
So it's just generator and data?
No! No, man! It is a content continuity infrastructure!
Then how does this supposed business idea tend to make money?
With subscriptions!
Everything is
Chat.
Mr. Kunle, it's a no for us.
No. I'm a streamer. I'm big. I know.
Mr. Kunle! Stop that! Stand up and get out of here!
I'm a streamer. I'm big. I know. I'm big. I know. Let's go together. I get all the minutes. I get all the minutes. Oh God. Please, I'm not
And we're back. We've had some interesting participants today, but we are yet to find the man, or dare I say, the woman of the match. Please welcome our last entrepreneur.
Good evening, investors. My name is Ifoma, and I am a current student of Babcock University. I am seeking 6 million naira and 10% for my company, Study Sabi AI. In Nigeria, as students, we all know students fail not because they don't read, not because they're not intelligent. They fail because they are overwhelmed. We are all students and we know that. The problem is not about reading. We all read everything, but it's about passing the examinations. We don't know what our lecturer said. We don't read our edge of what they said. So that is where Sabi Study Group AI comes in.
To start, what is a satellite? A satellite is an object that orbits another object in space. We have two main examples of satellites. The first is our moon, as a natural satellite, and as well as other planets' moons. Now, the other example is artificial satellites, the ones we talk about every day. Now, if you've attended the session yesterday, you might find some aspects overlapping, but I wanted to give a general overview of space and satellites before diving into the applications, as well as giving you glimpses of a young man's journey. So, back in the days, we used to know that basically satellites are very large. But, can you guess what's the smallest satellite we can have? With a show of you can present it with your hands. I can see a large one there. Yeah, small. Yeah, exactly. So, back in the days, we used to have satellites that are very large, more than 1,000 kilograms, and now we still have them, but these are usually for government missions or larger missions. Now, medium satellites are 500 to 1,000 kilograms, and then small satellites category starts from 350 until 1 kilogram. So exactly the size of your hand, 10 centimeter times 10 times 10. And CubeSats, when they got introduced, they opened a lot of opportunities because we can use them in various aspects, such as remote sensing and climate monitoring, and as well as secure communications. But we'll dive into these aspects further. But to tell you more about CubeSats, as I said, we have cubes that are almost the size of a Rubik's cube, slightly larger. And they can be stacked up to 24 units and sometimes even 32 units. So what does that mean? The introduction of CubeSats started, let's say, around 20 years ago. And the nice thing is that we've seen a lot of students, whether university students primarily or researchers, and now even school students dive into the aspect of building and launching their own satellites. For several reasons. One of the reasons is that if we're building for space, most probably we're building for the harshest environment. So we'll understand the electronics, we'll understand the mechanical aspects, as well as how to do communication with such distance. So in terms of the type of satellites, in terms of functionality, so the first is communication. So communication satellites have different use cases. One of them, we use them in now I've seen while I'm coming that we also have it, and I'm very happy that we still have the dishes. So the dish that we have above our houses that communicates directly with the satellite to have the TV broadcasting aspect. We use them for radios, as well as most recently they're used for internet connectivity. So Starlink, with the introduction of Starlink, it has changed how the scene looks like, because now we have satellite-based Wi-Fi, much more reliable than the cables that we have generally. Now, the other aspect is GPS. With GPS, I don't just mean Google Maps, the one that we use on our phones, but rather GPS that is embedded within cars, within ships, as well as within airplanes. And the next one is Earth observation. That has a lot of examples, but one of them is climate monitoring, as well as identifying any climate change, effects of climate change that would help us predict it before it happens. So basically we can have preventive aspects because we're taking it from space rather than going and checking it out ourselves. And it's very widely used in countries that usually face wildfires. So in Australia, to be specific, they depend on it really well. In the US also, they depend on it in this specific use case. Also, we have satellites that are used for scientific missions to observe other planets as well as the universe in general. So one of them is Hubble Space Telescope, well known. Around 30 years ago it was launched. After that, James Webb came in. Now in the UAE, we do have the Emirates Mars mission, HOPE probe, that went to discover Mars. There are several missions that are scientific related missions, but also satellites are used for secure communication as well as basically surveillance in general. So they have also a military use case, which makes it important for governments. Now, yesterday, during the session itself, I got a nice question where a great gentleman asked me, how can we use it in environmental sciences or in other aspects? And I remember I spoke with the dean of the environmental science department, and he spoke with me about the GIS, or the role of GIS, and I'm happy that you use it here in Babcock University. So geographic information systems are used generally, so we get satellite images and then we analyze it to see different topographies and different aspects. And one of the use cases is basically logistics, to monitor logistics as well as oil spills or any challenges related to that, as well as having smart interconnected cities.
Today, I will be talking to you about building AI-ready talent from curriculum to real-world skills. Now, if you take a look at this screen, there's a lot of change is happening in tech. For me particularly, since I joined Oracle, there's an annual event that we have. It used to be called Oracle Open World. And we did that for about 3 years, I guess. Then it moved to Oracle Cloud World when we started, when the buzz about cloud, I'm sure a lot of us have ever heard of cloud computing and all. And it became Oracle Cloud World. So in less than 8 years, I've seen it evolve 3 times because of the emergence of newer and newer technologies. So if companies like Oracle keep pivoting and updating or upgrading themselves, there is no reason you as a student or as a teacher should not. Okay, so it was just Oracle Open World, then it became Cloud World, and guess what? It is now called Oracle AI World. Okay, I don't know what's going to be in the next 5 years. I don't know what we're going to call it, but that's how it is. But this is just to explain to you that tech is a constantly evolving skill and field, and you have to be at the top of your game. Even as a program manager, it's tough. Before I finish learning one skill, they are bringing up another. Okay, so that's why I tell people that it's not your prior skills that you need to be in tech. You just need a zeal to keep learning. Because what you are doing today is not what you are doing next year. I can assure you about that. So for students, do not be afraid. In case you get roles or opportunities that would need you to step into roles that you have no idea. Yes, if you are able to learn, you can learn and you will thrive in it. Ask me, because I myself, I came from the arts background, but I'm excelling in tech. Okay, the evolving landscape of tech, accelerated change, we all see it. There was edge computing, there was cloud, used to be Java, used to be a lot of database, but now even companies are evolving in their strategies to keep up with the ever changing nature of technology. Okay, and so it means that newer technologies are reshaping every industry. Everyone uses AI here, right? Yeah, so it is now no longer, AI is just for only people in tech. It is now for everyone. Let me give you a quick story. When ChatGPT came out and all of that, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, and as a person, I don't think, and this is me being very honest, I don't think I have the gift of writing that much. There are other things I'm good at, but I did not think that I had, the gift of writing. So every time that I had a task that had to do with writing, oh my God, I can ruminate over it for 1 week. It's just because I want to write maybe 2 pages, Microsoft Word pages or something. But with the advent of AI, it was so good that, I just put in my prompts and it gave me what I needed. And one day my manager asked me, he said, "Kiri, this thing you wrote, did you use AI to write it?" Because the speed at which I submitted, he knows, the speed at which I used to submit the others. But this thing is too polished and so nice, and with this time frame, it shouldn't have come. But I'm just using that to say that we all use AI as program managers, as teachers, as students, and it's sort of accelerates our work. And I think somebody was saying yesterday, I think it was Nikki, that was saying that it is not a thing to be ashamed of if you use AI. In fact, she said it in a way that it is those who do not even use AI that should rather be ashamed of themselves. But that one, I don't know about my mom, because I don't know. I know she knows all about AI, but what kind of ChatGPT, I'm sure that she'll be looking at me like what are you saying? Okay, so these things are changing our landscape and all. So it means also that the skills that we're learning as a people, as students, are constantly evolving. And that's why we are very passionate about this at Oracle Academy. And we want to help students become career ready while they're still in school. That's like our goal. Okay, and so because there's increasing need for more skills, they want you to be agile, they want you to adapt fast, they want you to learn newer things, they want you to learn how to vibe code even as a software engineer. All of those things that require a lot of time and even resources to learn. Okay, and also the AI imperative is that tomorrow's workforce must be adaptable. Yes. Please, when you graduate, yes, I know that Babcock is one of the top tier schools, and I'm sure that your curriculum is also being reviewed from time to time, which is going to help. But as opposed to some other public universities where their curriculum has remained the same for the past 10 years, now imagine what they are learning. Okay, so students have to be adaptable, analytical, and agile.
So Arvind and I are going to co-facilitate this session, and we've decided to do this intentionally because we don't want it to be too formal, too structured. We're talking about from ideas to MVP. This is now real, right? Talking about building real products. And so I'm going to kick off the conversation starting with ideas. So idea to MVP is a journey. At the end of the day, when you're building any startup, it's a journey. There are different phases of that journey, right? And so I will kick off talking about the ideas part of it. How do you even make sure that the idea that you have is accurate and you're framing the problem correctly and you're looking at it from the right mindset and leveraging design thinking. And Arvind, you're going to talk about?
I'm going to build on that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what is an MVP. A lot of people are confused on what actually is a minimum viable product and how do you get there, how do you take it to market. That's what I would contribute.
Brilliant. So I'm going to start off with a question, right? And anyone, please feel free to answer the question. If you could redesign any product or system that you know,
Something that's from a really huge thing to something that's just like everyday annoyances. What product are you going to redesign? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there actually, I can give you. Please, we want to hear.
No, don't worry, I can.
Okay. Brilliant.
I would love to redesign the energy systems.
Energy systems.
In a
Okay.
way that energy is affordable.
Okay.
So now we did see Iran, US coming, and then we have Russia and Ukraine. We didn't learn from that. So I was thinking last year, if we diversify our project portfolio, would we be in this issue that we are in now? So I would love to do something around the energy infrastructure as a person.
Thank you very much. So redesigning our energy system, making it more resilient. Any other person want to share? If you were to redesign a product, it can be an everyday product that you just find something very annoying about it and it's like, if I could just change this one thing. Anybody? A student, because I believe this session is supposed to be for student founders, right? Is there students? Okay, ma'am, we'll take you, but I also want to get a student's perspective. I can't see any student hand up. Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Mine would be waste disposal. In Nigeria, when you go around, you hear a lot of stench coming from waste. And for me, I would prefer to have a proper way of disposing waste that would prevent those stench from getting to the citizens.
Thank you. Now, a student. I'm so sorry. I really want a student because.
I'm just going to ask a quick question. How many of you are students here? If you could raise your
Actually,
hand.
that's a good point. Perhaps it's not all students here.
Yeah, maybe
Okay, we
don't
have a
it.
few students. Okay. So is there a student who's willing to tell us something they will design?
there's one here.
Okay, brilliant. Let's hear it.
Alright, so mine would be blood shortage here in Nigeria because a lot of blood is available, but a lot of patients during emergencies don't have access to it. They have to start going around looking for a donor, so it's something that I would work on, and that's what I'm working on currently too.
Thank you very much. Brilliant. So, I think someone else raised their hand, but maybe we'll just go straight into it. Okay, sir, please go ahead.
I was discussing with him. A system that I want to design is how to remove politicians in Nigeria.
There's another student here, Nisi.
Okay, please go ahead.
Nisi, another student.
Yes, please.
I'll see social media because apparently social media, if we can make it in a way that it gives more connections between people rather than train more random informations at people.
Okay, so how do we get social media to make stronger connections with people instead of just throwing random information? That's a very interesting perspective because that was what social media was built for in the first place, right? And it's kind of evolved as the product has gone through various stages of its journey. But I asked that question. Apologies, like I see some hands up, but I think we'll have to go straight into it. There'll still be more opportunities for questions for us to interact, right? So I asked that question because one of the key things that I wanted to highlight is that ideas are everywhere, right? And the more we pay attention to things around us, the easier it is for us to think about ideas or ways we can solve problems. And there's an approach to putting ourselves in a mindset or in a frame of mind to actually solving problems, and it's a human-centered design thinking approach, right? In such a situation where you're not just thinking about the problem from the problem perspective, it helps guide how you frame the problem to make sure you are adequately building the right solution for the problem. And now it's become something else, right? But I just wanted to share that's the very first step in your journey
when you want to move from idea to MVP. Now, Arvin, they've defined the problem. It's very clear what they're trying to solve. What's next?
Love it. Some of the concepts that you spoke about, what's interesting to me is today in Silicon Valley, if you go ask for money, if you go ask for investments, if you have not thought through some of the things you spoke about, the investor won't even talk to you. So that's how important the things she brought out, the design thinking approach, the consumer mindset. This is the starting point, and you spoke about it so well. Just a quick, for us to understand a bit here, how many of you here are investors who have come out? If you can just raise your hand. Are there any investors here? A few investors. What about academia? Professors, people from the university? Great. And people who are looking to build this ecosystem for students. How many of you who are looking to build that ecosystem? Brilliant. Okay, sounds good. So, once you have the idea, once you frame the problem, like the way it was spoken about, then the next point is, how do you bring this to market? How do you execute? And there is a lot of confusion between a prototype and a minimum viable product. So we're going to start with asking the question of, what is a minimum viable product? And the second question is, why is this minimum viable product such an important concept? Why is everybody talking about an MVP? I think if you start there, then it starts to become clear on why we're doing this. So, to understand what an MVP is, you just got to take those three words, minimum viable product, and you break it down and it'll become very clear to you.
No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. Bring it on, bring it on. Are you ready? No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. And rising, rising, rising. Keep it high, rising, rise. I don't care who you are, where you're from, or what you do. Just as long as you're chasing money, do what's right, never give up on it. Bring it on, bring it on. Are you ready? Ready? No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. Bring it on, bring it on. Are you ready?
This goes to Okiki Oluwa, Aquarium, Dr. Wachupu, and Folawani. Okay, and then Igoro. I would like you to tell us that one thing that resonated very strongly in the course of your presentation yesterday, which reinforces that which we must get right. Because, for some, and for some of you too, you can tell you've been here. I think you've been here, and we've had talks of how great things can be, institutional, as a country, and it just fizzles out over time. And then you look back in time and you be like, oh, so it was just talk and no action. What is that one thing that must happen for your area of specialty, which you anchored on yesterday, all right, to materialize, to succeed, and not fail? So we'll take turns from Okiki, and then and then I'll just to coordinate that.
Thank you. In our session yesterday, the main headline that we agreed was that data in its current form, the way we collect, the way we process, and the way we use data should be digitized. And this should be an effort that's across board. And digitizing data as a first step would anchor the next phase of then ensuring that the workforce is able to harness digitalization or start implementing or using AI different daily operations. But ensuring that we have a process of digitizing data will be that first step.
Thank you. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. While we discussed so many things around AI, financial systems, innovation in the fintech and then digital trust, I think one key thing from the breakout session yesterday was the fact that we need to find a way to embed security right from the point of designing. Most of the time, security is usually afterthought. The product is ready, and then that's when we remember that we were supposed to actually test it to see if it's not vulnerable and everything is 100%. But then that's a mistake we make most of the time. Well, based on my years of experience in the industry, you find out that it's until an incident has occurred that people go back to the drawing board to then say, what didn't we do right as regards security? So what was key is right from the point of even birthing the idea, even the point of your prototype, you've already included security measures as your baseline. From code review to development to testing the application to even testing the market to even stress testing the application to even see if you experience downtime at any time. So security is meant to be by design and not an afterthought. And I said to everybody in the masterclass or in the breakout session, yesterday that if you're going to design a product,